Good morning. Welcome to our Facebook Live this morning. My name is Jenny McCormac, and if this is the first time you've caught up with me or come across me, then a warm welcome to you. I am an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator, and I'm based in the market town of Brackley. And you might wonder what an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator actually is. It's basically somebody who uses products from Stampin' Up. You have the option when you join Stampin' Up to run it as a business or to purchase for yourself at a discount. You have to buy the starter kit, which is always great value because it is discounted to get you started. And you have the option, like I do, to run it as a business in your own way. So whether you like to do face-to-face crafting with other people, whether you like to craft on your own and use social media, it's entirely up to you. So what it means is the majority, well, all of the products, bar one or two, that you will see me use are all Stampin' Up products. The only things you'll see me use that aren't Stampin' Up are things that we don't sell. So for example, adhesive remover or one or two tools, but that's it. All the rest of the products that you see me use are available from Stampin' Up. You have to buy through a Stampin' Up demonstrator. Now I would say that there are lookalikes that are available that come over from China and things like that, and we really appreciate you not supporting these people that are trading off the back of Stampin' Up and taking business away from independent local businesses. Majority are women. We do have quite a few men across the world. I have a great man, Scott, in my team. So we really appreciate you supporting us and being with us. So this week I am focusing on alphabets. I don't think I've ever actually done that, apart from using a set maybe or something maybe as we're going along. Hi Lynn, Scylla and Kerry. Good evening to you, Kerry, in Australia. So I'm going to focus on these during the week. I'll just show you what I have. Oh, the sun's come out. So we have this set of stamps. As you can see, it's called Classic Letters. It has the alphabet, it has numbers, it has extra symbols, and then we also have these little florals here across the bottom. Lynn is watching while working. Good girl. And they are about an inch in size, the individual main letters and numbers. And I do like the fact you have numbers on here. So alphabet sets are perfect for customizing your cards, either with somebody's name or an age. Just makes it different. And what I like about these particular ones and the dies that we sell is that there are multiples of the same letter. Morning, Dee. So you've got two A's, two L's, for example. So it means it's much easier to stamp out a full name without having to do it in parts. Having said that, generally I tend to stamp my letters individually. But if you were doing, I don't know, for example, an invitation, then potentially you could line everything all up in one go, maybe on the Stamparatus, and stamp that repeatedly. So we've got Classic Letters. This is not available in the catalogue. This is available as one of our recent online exclusives, which means you can order it through me, you can order it online, but you won't find it printed in a catalogue. And this is a recent addition. It allows Stampin' Up to bring in new items in between catalogues. And just a reminder that our current two catalogues, the spring one and the annual catalogue, both retire at the end of this month, and we have a new annual catalogue coming out. So some of the sets, if you've seen them, will be retiring. I'm also going to be using in the week and today actually Alphabest, and this is a small lowercase alphabet, as you can see. It also has a matching punch, so if you're not very good at lining up, you can stamp the letters and just punch them out, and there's a little punch this size that goes with it. And again, you've got additional letters for France and Germany, and ampersands, things like that in there as well, and an @ symbol, so if you wanted to stamp a website you could do. And then the other thing I have here is our alphabet a la mode dies, and these have the dies of letters and numbers, and I'll be using these later in the week. What I love about these is that they're tall but narrow, so if you've got a long name that you want to incorporate, then it's easy to cut those out. And again, you can see we've got multiple, so we've got 2 T's there, for example, and the numbers. So I'm going to start with just a simple way of personalising or customising your card, and I'm going to start, I've got Evening Evergreen background. Evening Evergreen and Soft Succulent are both retiring, so these colours will be retiring. And so if you haven't got these and you love the colours, they're exactly what they say, Soft Succulent and Evening Evergreen, then now is the time to order them before they go out of stock. And this relates to the ink, the refills, the blends pens, the card, and obviously all the papers that go with those. Okay, so what I thought I would do is I'm going to use some of my Evening Evergreen. So I've got a white base card, Evening Evergreen layer, and then I've got a white layer that's going to go on here. And one of the things that we don't have many of are new home cards. We have new home stamp sets specifically, I should say. So there are quite a few that you could use, but I thought what I would do is use the Plentiful Plants stamp set and stamp some pots at the bottom and do it as a new home card. So I'm going to use the capital letters for here, and then the smaller lowercase letters from here. So I'm going to start with the alphabet, and because I want to make sure that that I can fit it in, and then I'll stamp the flowers and things underneath, and I'll know how much space I've got left. I guess I could do it this way, but I think with the pots they could come out quite high. So I'm just going to start, excuse me, across the top. Let's grab a clean piece of grid paper here and pop that on there. So I'm going to use the capital N and the capital H for New Home, and they come on these sheets to start with, and then you can transfer them onto here. So there's an H and an N. That was a stroke of luck. And I'm going to use a mat underneath because they are photopolymer stamps. And I haven't used these either, so I need to just sort of get them started. And then I'm going to use the remaining smaller letters on here. Hi Diane, yes, I had a lovely weekend, thank you. I had a great time at the Spring Craft Fair on Saturday. So I'm a little bit disorganised this morning. Now, what you can do if it helps you is to draw a thin line to help you line up. You could also use masking tape. If I could see, oh, I have some masking tape here. So I'm going to actually use that this time round. just so I get it nice and straight. I hope you had a good weekend, Diane. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just keep this straight to this and use the lines on my grid paper. Yeah. And if you have trouble, because sometimes it's not obvious when you're looking at the stamp which way round it goes. Obviously an O is nice and easy, but the N, for example, or the H, be quite difficult, easy to get it the wrong way round depending on which letter it is. So if in doubt, check the index here, and I know then that the thick line is going top left to bottom right, and the two I can't think what they're called, the two serifs are on the left hand side, so I know that this goes round that way. It's one of those things that when you look at it you sometimes think, oh yeah, that's right, and then once you've stamped it and looked at it a bit longer it isn't. Okay, so I'm going to use Evening Evergreen, and I'm going to have New and then Home. So I'm going to do this first because I want it fairly close to the top. I suppose I could do it all capitals. I was thinking it wasn't going to fit, but actually I think Home would fit, so maybe I will do that. Okay, so if I just stamp this the other way round, you'll see how it, although it is still an N, it doesn't look quite as good. Right, so I'm just inking this up. I've got my mat underneath, glasses are coming off, and I'm going to pop this on here. So there's my N and a mark from my finger. So I'm just going to redo that. Can you see it on there? Best laid plans. It is Monday morning. I have had a busy weekend. Right, let's try that again. So I want this straight to start with, and here. Yes, the spare side. Luckily there's always a spare side if you're working on it wasn't on my hand actually, it was on the block. Just realised that. Right, I might actually switch to this Evening Evergreen. See if it's got more ink in than this one. So we do have refills available. Whether they're still available, because they tend to sell out very quickly when we know they're retiring. Oh, that's not much better, is it? Let me just clean that stamp. Right, bear with me 1 minute. I'm so sorry. All of my chamois were in the sink. Right. Okay. Right. We're on it now. There we go. Right, just going to bring this down under me a little bit so I can see, and my N. Yeah, I'm going to do them all uppercase. Sorry. Right. N-E. W. Okay, so you need to bear in mind, so I might have to change my mind now, is that each of the letters is a different width. So don't do what I do and just start stamping. What you could ideally do, but you need to make sure your stamps are clean before you do this, is line them up in preparation so that you can see how they're going to fit. So I know now that this is going to go off the end. Oh dear. Right. So I'm going to make sure that the word home is going to fit across there. Dear, dear. Right, H I've got out already, of course, haven't I? So H. Now we have an O and we have a 0. H, O, M I've got out, and E I've got out, I think. H, O, M, and an E. Da, da, da. Which is there? Dear. Right, so do you think I should just give up and start again? So I can see that home is not going to fit across there in a million years. Oh dear. Okay. So I'm going to revert to plan A. It would have been alright if I'd done it the other way and chosen something else. Maybe put new in the middle and then had something behind. Right, let's see what this is going to look like. Well, yeah, it would work landscape, but with the plentiful plants that I've got on here, they're not all going to fit. Okay. Didn't think this one through, did I? Right, H, O, M, E. Morning, Carol. And then E, and then W. Right, okay. Right, let's lay plans and all that. Now I need a tiny block. It's not April Fool's Day, is it, really? Okay, here's my E. So for anybody who's joining thinking that, morning Julie, that Jenny has absolutely lost the plot. She hasn't. Okay, now you're going to say this is too small, but we're going for it. N-E. W. So it's all about alphabets this week. Okay. So there's new. as I say, if you're not very good at lining up, then just use the punch, which I'll be using later this week to punch out these small letters. You could also use any circle punches or dies to punch them out as well. So what I'm actually going to do now is use this to mark the top. No, that's not going to work, is it? Oh, well, it worked for my H. Only because I want to get that in line so it's not too far apart from the other one. Right, here's an H. Okay. Just wondering if this has a... Yes, it does. The bar across the centre is slightly higher than the centre. So I've got home, so I can, I'm using this to do the top of my H, and then I'll move my washi tape down. And I think what I'm going to do is have it just very slightly to the left, but not greatly. So there's my H, and I'll just grab another, and I'll lift this one off. Can't believe it's nearly 10:30, 24 minutes past 10, and I haven't even got halfway there. It's not looking very straight either, but I'm going with it. Right, here's my O. So I've got new home is what I'm doing, in case you're wondering. Obviously alphabets are perfect for people's names, or where you may have a different spelling of somebody's name. There's the M. And then let's pop the E back on. There we go. Lovely to have you join us live, Julie. Go. Right. Made it. Okay, if you've got a very long or complicated name or something, I recommend writing it out and then crossing each letter as you do it. Morning, Michelle. Otherwise, it's really easy to just misdo it, especially where you've got multiple letters. Right, so there's my new home, finally. Oh my goodness, how difficult did I make that? Right, now I've got Plentiful Plants, which I'm hoping will now fit. So Plentiful Plants have these lovely matching dies. And let's see, I'd love to use this one here. So to balance it, I'm going to make it bigger here on the right hand side, which also gives me a little bit more space. So I'm thinking I'm going to have a pot here, which I'm going to stamp in Cajun Craze, which is a really nice sort of terracotta colour. And I've got this one here, and then I can add a smaller one to the left. Let's see what I've got here. Got this little pot. So as long as your stamps are clean, you can sort of set it up on your card, which is what I should have done with my letters. Okay, that will work. Whew. Okay. Right, so I'm going to use Cajun Craze. That is not retiring, this one is going through. It's a really good terracotta colour. We used to have terracotta tile not that long ago, a few years ago, if you remember that. Perfect. Right, so what I need to make sure is that I bring my pot far enough over. I don't mind it going off a little bit, but I don't want, you know, most of it off. So that's the sort of element, isn't it? So one block in from the left of that grid line. So you can buy this grid paper. You sell it in sheets of 100. And if you don't think you'll use that, you can always split it with a friend. Okay, so there's that one. Let's add a bigger block. And I'm going to stamp this one in soft succulent, I think. So this is another colour that's retiring. No, I'm going to do it in evening evergreen because I want the other one for my soft succulent plant. Okay. Okay. It's nearly soft succulent as it is. It's so light. Okay, let's add the pot. And I'm going to stick with these colours, not going to introduce anything else. I was going to do a lighter colour or a blue or something, but let me move this up because I realise now that it's probably halfway off your screen. And I know that this is upright. Just stamped it in evergreen. So I can position that as I wish. And let's put that plant in. And I think this is so light, let's see what this one is. Okay, so this is soft succulent. I'm hoping has a little bit more ink in it, not much. And I'm just almost overlapping that. Okay. Phew. So we've got there with our new home design. So what I'm going to do is just a little bit of shading around the outside, and in fact what I am going to do is use a little bit of this mask, if I can find the way in. I'm pretty sure that these masks are retiring, so this is the one that's got those lovely flowers on. I'm just going to add a little bit in there with a very light green. And what I'm going to do is position that like so. Just adding this, it's really just to fill in that little bit of space, make it look a little bit more interesting. So that's on the right hand side, and then I'll add a little bit on the left. So this is the large blending brush, and we have the small ones as well. Let's do just a little bit around that edge, like so. It's only going to be very light. So, yeah, there we are. You can see that now. Okay, and I'm just going to blend in from the edges as well, and we're done. I can mount that up, and I can stamp the pots onto the envelope. And I've just got an evening evergreen layer that I'm going to pop behind. Like so. Right, to clear those out of the way, clear that out. So I have got a white card, I've got an evening evergreen layer, this is going to go onto there like that. Grab some glue, oops, this is the one that's nearly empty, this is this, dear. Right, let's get one from our coffee and card selection. There we go. So just centralising that, there's half a centimetre between these two layers in terms of size, and that gives me about 2.5 millimetres all the way around, like so. Get a bone folder to get a nice crisp edge. If you don't have a bone folder, you can use the edge of a block like so. Just make sure the block is clean before you do that. Pop that on, and then I could add some ribbon or some bling to that. There we are. There's our finished card. Finally. So to finish this off, I would stamp the pot and a plant on the inside, and I would also stamp a pot and a plant on the envelope, and you could add inside congratulations or best wishes if you wanted to add an additional sentiment. Okay, well, we got there in the end. Not my finest hour of Facebook Lives, but you could see the process, and you could see what I did to overcome everything. It did turn out great. Thank you, Kerry. So all week we'll be featuring alphabets and numbers. So we've got alphabets that we'll be using, classic letters, which I use for the larger letters, and we've also got the alphabet dies, alphabet a la mode. So we'll be using those all of the week. For something that tends to be rather neglected and overlooked. So I hope you like the final design. Thanks for sticking with me. during the creative process, but I'm pleased with how it turned out. So the key is work out where your letters are going to go and whether they'll fit before you start stamping. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great day. Oh, morning, Brenda. Sorry, we're just wrapping up. Thank you for your message as well. So we're just finishing up. Here's the card we created with one of the new alphabet sets and the small alphabets. So you'll be able to watch that on replay very shortly. Nice to see you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Lynn. Yes, always good to see when it doesn't. Yes. Thank you. Right, I'm off to have a much needed coffee, I think, and do some clearing up. I am listing my retired items. So these are items that have previously retired, not the ones in the current catalogues that are retiring. I need to load up about 20 really before I open the shop. So watch out for that. I'll be doing that during the day today. And I'll also be releasing details for our next class in a box during the week. So thank you so much. Thank you for your support. I look forward to crafting with you again really soon. Bye for now.